Get my beard on straight.
Yeah.
Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. It's Comic Roundtable. And of course, with me is Russ. How's it going?
I'm great.
We were supposed to have another guest. That other guest may show up at some point. We'll see how that pans out. If it does, awesome. If not, we'll shame him by the end of the show if he doesn't show up. So that being said, let me get my little comment thing up here in case you are chatting. I can see what you're saying and then promptly ignore you because I do that an awful lot, it seems like. But anyway, we flipped the imaginary coin, decided that we would talk Marvel first. Okay, we're done talking Marvel. That was awesome. I didn't have any Marvel books this week. I haven't heard of any. I mean, since last week, I haven't heard of any earth-shattering news about anything different Marvel-wise or whatever. So there we go, right?
Well, I have a tad bit of Marvel news.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Just a little bit. I mean, I don't know if, because I don't think we mentioned it last week, but I just keep seeing the advertisements for it when I'm watching like YouTube videos. But the Runaways.
Oh yes.
Advertisement for the Runaways.
Yeah, it just came out, right? I think it got released early, even, as a matter of fact. They decided they wanted to jump on didn't it get released the same time the Punisher did and stuff? Or awfully close to that, right? Yeah, I haven't started to watch yet, but fully tend on it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's released, and so that's the only news that I can.
Yeah, I've heard some people talking about it, and it's like they start out with everybody's like, oh yeah, this is really cool, blah blah, and then as it rolls along a few issues, then they start noticing some of the potential issues that might be with it. I don't know. So we'll see how that.
It looks somewhat promising to me, but it doesn't look entirely like it's gonna be like
Well, I just don't know how much different is it going to be than like The Gifted, which I am watching. I'm up to date. Well, I haven't seen this is last week's episode, but I'm up to date on that. I just don't know how much different it's going to be than that. So
yeah.
And I am a little over halfway through Punisher, I think. I'm still really liking it. I'm having a fun time with that. I like this version of Frank Castle, this kind of gravelly voiced. Seems calm most of the time until things get to a certain point, and then he is just beyond violent, which is right. That's the Punisher, right? So
listen, John Bernthal, aka Shane.
Well, you know what? Surprisingly, he does not read as Shane to me, and that was my biggest worry going into the whole thing. I was gonna be like, I'm just gonna want him dead every scene because I absolutely hated Shane in the TV show The Walking Dead. Oh.
I love Shane.
No.
We talked about
it's like the worst. The only person that's worse than him. The only person that's worse than him is Negan, and man, I hate Negan character too. Oh,
I agree with you on that one. I hated Negan. I hate Negan.
Oh, Shane is awful.
You know what? Have you seen that new advertisement for that movie that that The Rock is in with Jeffrey Dean Morgan? And I'm like, that's so Negan right now. Like that dude is Negan. Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, he's wrecked.
Yeah, like every time I see Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I see Negan.
Yeah, I saw there was a commercial for like some app game like Kingdom or whatever, and he's the king. Yeah. And as soon as I see him, I'm like, God, what the hell is Negan doing wearing a crown? I mean, I just,
I'm like,
that actor's wrecked. He's wrecked. Anyway, tonight we have young Fred with us. Fred's here. How's it going, Fred?
Fred. He was in a Bruins game. I'm like, repping Boston. There we go.
Nice. So Fred doesn't come on the show because we keep him up way too late, way past his bedtime, so he doesn't come on the show. I think we about wrecked it the last time he was on. At any rate, so like I said, no Marvel. I don't even know what came out.
Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur came out. Because I used to read Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Oh right.
I used to read to my daughter. But
it seems to be going strong. The second, whatever the other market is besides the direct market, that book clearly is popular. So good for it. Good for it to be something a little different that people can get a hold of and read to their smaller children. That's
I mean, I like the concept that Moon Girl is the smartest girl in the universe. I love that she's a woman of color. I just don't like it's something about it that it's just too young for me. So it doesn't I don't identify with it for me as a adult. But for a young audience, it's cute. But I had issues with it.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Fred's talking about the fact that yes, he's a young child, and so he gets tired. Anyway, Anyway, not to pick on you, Fred. We love you. Love you when you come on the show. So let's move on to DC, right?
Yeah.
Talk DC books. So you want to talk the one DC book you read?
Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. Oh, you did. Thanks for nothing. You know what that's from?
No, what's it from?
From the book.
Oh yes, yes. That's right. Sorry, I was actually thinking about the book yet. Sorry.
Oh God, you're
Yes.
like,
I'm like, what are you talking about? So,
you know what I was talking about.
yeah. So Doom Patrol, issue number 9. I went and looked because anybody who watched my comic call earlier today, I'm missing the variant one. This is the one book I buy 2 covers of just for the cover because I'm silly that way. It is coming. It actually says it's. Yeah, I did order it. I don't know.
I'm totally cussing them out for you. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm doing it.
No, because I'm assuming the next order it'll come next order. For whatever reason, they probably didn't get enough of them.
I'm calling them up.
Yeah. Okay. You find their phone number. You let me know. So. So anyway, so what did you think? We got, on the cover here, we've got our young black magic wielding Satanist wannabe, right? Right? He's all about the metal. Let's play the record backwards. Yeah. So what did you think?
I thought I'm down. I'm down for cause.
It's
down for nothing.
It's right. It's typical. Yeah. Thanks for nothing. It's typical. Doom Patrol right now, right? I mean,
I like the vinyl.
Yes, and I don't say that in a bad way. But hey, one of the things I want to talk about to be kind of serious about the book is we do get back to the whole in the court, in the what do I want to call it? Not courtroom. What's it called? Yeah, in the throne room, in the throne room and whatnot, we get a new character,
right?
A new god is here. He's wearing the robes of the guy who was laying dead. He even says, "I killed him. I hit him with a brick. I killed God." He says, "I killed God. I hit him with a brick in the head, and I've taken over." And he is literally not drawn in. He is literally withheld for copyright,
which I love,
which I think is hilarious, right?
Yes. And the shape, he has a shape of.
So I mean, it doesn't really answer what happened there, but it does in a sense. So that was supposedly God to this guy, in this guy's opinion, and he has taken over. I really like this comic. I don't know what's going on in it. I don't know if there's I mean, clearly the storyline right now is, our kid here, who basically feels ignored, to some degree, stereotypical teenage angst kind of stuff, right?
Very.
And he's taking it to like the 9th degree, and he gets himself hooked up with what's the character's name? Mr. Nobody? Is he Mr. Nobody? Is that his? Right?
He goes by a lot of monikers.
Right.
From what he told us, he goes by.
But Mr. Nobody, but typically Mr.
Yeah. Was it Andada, Mr. Professor Nothing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Then the whole Brotherhood of Dada.
A litany, a plethora of different names, but
right. So he gets zapped out into the middle of, I don't know, the desert or something like that, or southern Idaho.
My favorite character is the legs.
Yes, pants.
Yeah,
pants. So you get this giant pair of legs.
Yeah.
That's just crotch and legs. And it's his new, because this is the old Dada gang from the Morrison run of the book and stuff, right?
Which my computer's sitting on top of.
Nice.
I figure I'll pay ode to Mr. Morrison.
There you go. So he's getting the new crew together to go and annihilate the world and then reboot it, restart it. And he offers this kid to come along. Here's our 4 characters. We get kind of an introduction. A physicist woman who accidentally uses some special concrete that covers her up and she can't feel anything. And of course we have Pants. What's he? Is that his name? Is he actually called Pants? Chad, 50% Chad. That's hilarious on a number of levels. But 50% Chad, a mysterious pair of oversized legs, feet, bits, and tush.
Oh yeah, God, you can't forget the tush.
Is there more Chad somewhere else? Is there more Chad laying around somewhere? We don't know. But no pants. And then of course Alice Debris, the Breeze. She's so perfect. She's so perfect in every way that she's boring and people ignore her. But no problem. She can handle anything. And then of course the Hector the Detector. He's got an alien metal detector, and so he can detect all kinds of stuff. Plus, they turn our kid into a magician, the great Ludini, the Teenage Nothing, and so they're gonna go reboot the world. So I don't know. I find the book, continue to find the book fun. The whole saying goodbye to the roommate thing, that was kind of wild, huh?
Yeah, I was
Casey's,
like, oh.
Casey's moving out. You know, she's moving out. She's eating the last of shit, or however you want to say that, right? I mean, it is shit, right? I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So she's eating that, and of course, that's the byproduct of Dannyland and whatnot. So God knows what that's like. And so she's saying, "Oh, goodbye. Well, it'd be nice to maybe if I meet you." And then she gets this, you know, Casey just lays a smooch on her. Clearly, wherever Casey's from, that's the thing to do. Is that right?
She's like,
and they fall out the window and they parachute down. I love this though. This kind of crazy, you know, the buildings are all this kind of wild, weird, Kirby-esque, liquidy kind of stuff. I don't know. Visually, it was appealing to me.
Very.
I was all about the kiss and parachuting, I guess. So
yeah, very romantic.
yeah. I mean, I dug it. I mean, I wish the book came out a lot sooner because I think I think it's harder to be into the book when it's hard to remember exactly what all happened. I don't know exactly the mood of the last book. You know, I know there was some lotion stuff in it and stuff like that, but do you know what I mean? So
yeah, you know what? I agree with you because I honestly felt like I forgot some stuff, and honestly, I don't know why when this guy who was talking about killing the god, why did I feel like I kept my mind kept skipping back to that scene with the kingdom where all those people were dead and remember where all those people were lying dead in the kingdom
in Dannyland, right? Wasn't that
in Dannyland? But my mind kept skipping back to that one scene. I don't know why, even though that was issues ago, but my mind kept skipping back to that scene for some reason because we have so much breaks, such long extended breaks between these issues that immediately that's what I thought of, you know?
Yeah.
Because these breaks are so extended, you know?
Right. I guess the root of the problem is as much as I love this, I love reading it in singles, with it not coming out consistency, the small little details, the little winks and nods that are in the book, I think we miss because it's like 4 months between issues, for us to retain that. I mean, we read so many books. I think even if I only read 4 books a month, I'd still be stretched. Whereas the person who sits down and gets to read this and trade isn't going to have that experience. They're going to get it all. It's the downside, the non-reward to reading it in single issues versus
exactly.
Not to say that I won't go back and reread them. Doom Patrol is one of those things that I read arcs over and over again. I haven't the modern stuff yet, but I know I will at some point. And I certainly will after reading this issue just because I felt like there was stuff that maybe there was other bits and pieces that I might have gotten more out of if I was reading this consistently. So. But I still really like it. I dig it. That creative team. I don't know who it is that's making it fall behind, but they need to kind of get together. It's Way he needs to get it together. You know, if he's the writer is the problem with it, but because I see Nick Darragine on Twitter doing lots of other stuff. He's constantly doing his own fun little sketches. He's doing the covers for Miracle Man, so clearly DC is keeping him employed, doing other stuff, but. I almost feel like it's not him. It's not like he's behind on the art.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's Way? You think it's Way?
That's my guess.
Yeah. With him being still a musician. And
I don't think he is, though. I don't think he does anything that way, other than his own whatever kicks and giggles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I thought he was still doing music, but I could be wrong.
I didn't think he was.
I'm personally not. I'm not like a huge diehard. I'm like a diehard fan of Chemical Romance personally.
Mhm. But
listening haphazardly.
Right. I do know he's admitted many times that writing a comic book is a lot harder than writing a song.
Yeah. And I think honestly, I think his writing comes off that way if you think about it. I mean, have you ever I don't know. By chance, when you read his comics and have you listened to his lyrics? I mean, have you felt that way too?
They're similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I feel like the way he writes his lyrics and the way he writes his comics, his stuff comes off lyrical more so than the way comics.
Right, and structurally, lots of times they're like a song too.
They're so reminiscent of each other.
Right.
I mean, and I feel like if he had someone more, if he had more of someone who was kind of mentoring him and walking him through, he probably would have, maybe the way he is putting stuff out, maybe would have less of a hard time of putting his stuff out in such of, I guess, staggered time constraint, possibly. But
it could be. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Looking forward to the next issue, whenever that is. I have it solicited out to like issue 11, and after that, I don't know, because they're coming out with that whole Milk War thing that's coming up, where they're doing a crossover with books in the regular DC universe. With all of the books. I'm hoping that after the Milk Wars is over with, that all these other books go back to coming out regularly. That we start getting Mother Panic again, that we start getting Cave Carson again, because all those books kind of had the brakes put on them while they're waiting for Doom Patrol to catch up to it, I think.
Yeah. I think you tagged me in that, didn't you? On Twitter.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So looking forward to those too. So alrighty. I'm gonna talk a few other DC books. Detective Comics. Issue 969. The Fall of the Batman Part 1. So in this issue we get the whole Tim shows up to Stephanie and goes, "Hey, Stephanie, I'm still alive." Stephanie's thrilled to death. I actually really like this issue because there's a great conversation between Tim and Red Robin and Batwoman, because Batwoman is basically telling him, well, they're on a stakeout, and it's like, you need to tell Stephanie the truth, that you don't plan on going back to school, because Stephanie still thinks that Tim's going to quit and go on to go to an Ivy League school, become super smart that way and fix the world in conventional fashion as opposed to unconventional fashion. And she has this long conversation with him about the fact, Batwoman does, but the fact he can't lie to Stephanie. And he keeps saying, well, after Stephanie gets used to doing this again and she's happy and she sees the good work we're doing, she won't care. And Batwoman's like, look, take it from somebody who wrecks every relationship she's ever been in, you are wrecking this relationship. And I like that conversation. And I like having that in comics because it makes the comic feel personal. It makes it feel like, it makes me invested in the character. Even Tim Drake makes me feel invested in the characters, besides them just, punching things in the face, which is, don't get me wrong, that's cool. That's one of the great things about superhero comics. But I also like my superhero comics to have some level of emotional weight to them, that it feels like, there's things matter. So I liked all that aspect of it, quite a bit. It looks like the victim syndicate is getting the gang back together again, along with Anarchy, and they're going to unleash something on the whole Batman thing. Gotham and the officials in Gotham, like the new mayor of Gotham, is questioning this whole, seems to be more of a militarized Batman. Instead of Batman just being one individual vigilante, now they're this kind of elite squad of 5 to 10 people in the Batman family, and they're swooping in, and they are they're swooping in, and they're taking people out so fast that the Gotham Police Department isn't even aware that there's an issue. And they're starting to question that. They're starting to go, okay, when it was an individual, it was one thing, it was fine, because clearly Gotham has a certain amount of crime that we can't handle. And so they're not opposed to the Batman being around. But now there's a whole group of them, they're starting to infringe upon democracy itself. I mean, because there is a rule of law, you know, there is all this stuff, this process that needs to happen, and the vigilantes, you know, these superheroes kind of do circumvent that. So, and at the level they're getting at right now, that it's maybe bad. You know, the mayor finally asked Batman, "Where does it end? You know, at what point have you moved? Have you gone far enough? You know, to not go past whatever this tipping point is." So I find all that part of it interesting also. So the art was by Bennett. It was okay. The art wasn't fabulous in it. It was serviceable, you know, to tell the story. But I did like the dialogue and whatnot. It was all interesting, and I'm interested to see, you know, where it goes. I like some of the stuff they planted in this issue, the relationship issues, without it being, you know, teen angsty relationship type issues, was good. And I like this whole addressing of, now that there's this kind of Batman army running around. Is that a good thing? You know, is that an appropriate thing to have in Gotham? I like those questions. It's interesting. So,
oh, Sergeant Bat.
It's Mike. How's it going, sir?
Boom! It is only by the grace of goodness that I am here. So
Yeah.
Good to see you. Yeah, Rez is dying to see Private Peanut. So
it is past Peanut's bedtime. She screamed the last hour. So
nice.
Give her a kiss for me.
Nice.
Will do.
Nice. So we're just talking a few DC comics. You said that you didn't pick up any books this week.
No, not technically any new. I did decide to splurge on a couple Plastic Mans.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's my my big thing I'll be reading in the next couple days.
Cool. Some good old Plastic Man. Are you reading that to get yourself warmed up for the Terrifics when it comes out?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Well, looking forward to that too. That should be interesting to see what that is and stuff. So we haven't had you on the show in forever, Mike. What have you been up to? You reading all kinds of crazy stuff?
It's mainly just work, being a new dad, and I've read lots and lots less. If you've seen my Twitter, I get about 3-4 books usually. Every once in a while, I goof up and I pick up like 10 or 12, and I shouldn't, but.
I hear you. So I'm going to ask lots of questions because I can't remember, or I remember, but people might not know. The Marvel books, I know you've kind of gone back and forth on saying I'm not picking it up because the covers keep melting in my hands, and then I see you pick up a few. So you haven't really stuck to your guns on that, right?
I've tried. I mean, there's lots of stuff I am very interested in. I will be picking up Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw's Thanos that's coming out. Well, it came out Wednesday. I'll pick it up tomorrow.
This is
I
new.
love those two guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the new run. It starts on 13. I'm guessing at least 5 for them to start with. Okay. It's Thanos wins, so I think it's going to be an alternate reality where he finally wins. What happens? Does he get tired of it? Does he want death? Whatever. Yeah, I have to support those guys. I'm going to be pissed the entire time.
He's winning. Donny Cates, he's winning.
Yeah, he's kind of like the new Charles Soule, isn't he? It's like all of a sudden he showed up and then he's exploded and he's like writing everything.
Yeah, everybody loves this guy. Everybody loves him.
I like the first issue of Doctor Strange of his. I really enjoyed it. I mean, because they're playing with characters I like too. So that's, you know, all that kind of is going to be some fun stuff there. So yeah, right on. So did you decide that you were picking up Captain America with now that Wade and Sammy, you decided against that, even though because I know we had talked about that coming off the Black Widow run. We really liked the Black Widow run a lot.
Yeah.
Deciding whether or not we were going to jump. So what made you decide you weren't going to get that?
Like I said, it's the covers. It's mainly just that. It's the books basically dissolving in my hands. Marvel doesn't give a crap. They don't do anything good with that. And I can pick it up and trade. I'll wait for it. It's not like they're going to stop making Captain America.
Oh,
so.
for sure. There's no concern if you don't support it that it's going to fold. Yeah.
Unlike Thanos, that's why I'll pick that up in singles. So.
Are you still picking up Black Bolt?
Yes. I picked up the last issue, which was the different artist.
Right.
And
Fraser Irving did a fill-in issue. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's another one where if I don't support that one, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I'm going to keep picking that up. It's still the same artist as far as I know.
Yes.
So I'm interested in it. It's a beautiful comic. So yeah, might as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, that way I can bitch as much as I want about it because I am purchasing it. So
right, for sure, sure. So what would you think if I told you that melting your hands was a feature?
Psychedelic feature.
Exactly.
I even wrote it on Jason Aaron's page, and I thought it was going to be that I was going to get blocked by him or something, but I said, love your work, but I'm just mad that Marvel covers are, dissolving in your hands. And he liked it. And I was just like, okay.
Well, those guys are readers too. And I don't think they have any realistically have any control over that aspect. It's not like it, like if this was Image comics that were being put out that way, I would bitch because I've had conversations with creators. I've been at, in panels with creators about Image books, and they literally talk about the fact that Image comes to them and says, what kind of paper stock do you want to use? What kind of cover you want, and they tell you what the prices of it are. So how like an Image book is put together is all informed by the creators that are on the book. So I don't think Jason Aaron, I mean, he may have a little more weight than some of the people at Marvel do. The person we need to bitch at is that the new guy, CB, what's his face?
CB, yes, Grabowski, yeah.
Harass him about the fact that they need to up the stock of the of the covers. I mean, we're joking here about it, but it really is frustrating. I am not a mint comic book person. I don't have to have my comic books in near mint, but it is really frustrating to be setting, even when it's not hot out, to be setting and reading a comic book and have to be terribly, terribly concerned about personalizing your comic book by putting your fingerprints on it in a way that you don't want to. That is kind of bummer. And like at my house, multiple people read my books, so it just cranks up the chances of it coming apart. So then that's like I said, that's kind of a bummer. And as much as we're joking about it, it's affecting what you're buying. It is affecting your, and I know it does other people too. I mean,
it made me very interested in that new, the new one that's coming on newsprint. I don't remember who's putting that out, but I saw that on Twitter a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, what's the covers going to be like on those things? If the interiors are newsprint, I'm just not excited about that. I mean, people are like, oh my gosh, go back to newsprint. That's really cool. All exciting. I'm not into that. Man, art and color looks so much better now than when there was the whole bleed factor. I mean, don't get me wrong. I look at those old comics and I love the bleed factor for what it was at the time.
All right. Yep.
But if I hold that up next to like a Christian Ward, the artist for Black Bolt, for instance, oh no, there's no comparison. So yeah. Jacko is saying that those flimsy covers make the 9.8 that much more rare. So I guess it's right. If you get a modern Marvel book that you could somehow get slabbed before anybody touches it, basically virgin off the machine. I guess that's for me. That's, like I said, for me, that's not really an issue. I don't
know. Is that even worth it trying to get around the machine?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's how some people collect, and that's totally cool. The grading and all that stuff is part of it. It's not mine. It's not my way of collecting. I don't, because I want to be able to read the book, and I can't do that if I'm concerned about it being in pristine condition. Exactly. But it shouldn't crap out. And we're not asking for a Grass Kings cover. It's not like we're all wanting this super hard. I mean, because the Grass King cover for that Boom Studio book by Matt Kent, the cover on that is harder than on trade paperback. I mean, like trade paperbacks and regular book covers. It's harder than that. It really is. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they can afford to do it for that book. Mm-hmm. And we're not even asking for that. Just give it a coating of something that does not instantly melt. It just really does take nothing to. for that. At any rate, boo hiss. So, any other books coming up, Mike, that you're interested in, that you've heard about, that have been about, kicked about lately that you're...
Gideon Falls is the same one you guys have been talking about with Lemire and Sorrentino. So.
Oh yes, that independent book that's coming out from Image, right? Yeah. That's going to be super cool, super cool. For the art, if nothing else, right?
Yes, exactly. So, and I mean, it just sounds like it's going to be interesting. They're really trying to make some kind of real mystery or puzzle out of this. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just really curious to truly see Sorrentino do something where he really doesn't have editors. He's not. I don't think they restrict him a whole lot anyway, because clearly, he's kind of from iVampire, which I loved his work in iVampire. He has taken it to such a higher level. When he went and did the Green Arrow book for a while, he was starting to really, build those crazy, pages that are all the kind of fancy panels and whatnot of arrowheads and that sort of thing. And then he's just kind of ratcheted up to the next level on each book after that. So I would assume that when we get to this, it's going to really be next level. My only concern is as this stuff gets more and more complicated, I'm assuming it's harder and harder for him to complete it.
Yes.
So are we going to end up with some delayed books because of the, how far out in front are they going to get before they start selling the book? Because how delayed? Because I love J.H. Williams to death, and I've kind of rode along with J.H. Williams III on his evolution. Back when he was first place, I really, really paid attention to him at. He was doing a Wildstorm book with Warren Ellis. He was doing Desolation Jones. He started out in that book. He jumped off that book because DC offered him a job to work with Grant Morrison on Batman, or was it Detective? I can't remember which one it was. So he went to that. His panels started getting a little fancier, started getting a little more. And then, of course, he went to Detective with Greg Rucka and the whole, Batwoman stuff. And it just got more and more fancy, more and more beautiful, complicated. And then we've seen him do his own version of Batwoman that got more and more complicated. Then he went and did Sandman, and it was nuts. I mean, it took like all those 2 years to put the book out because of how, now he's got he's working on 2 or 3 secret books, but he's already been working on them for a year.
Okay.
And we haven't, you just see what I'm saying? I worry that Sorrentino's going to be the same way. That as gorgeous as it is, and I'm not complaining about it because it's beautiful to look at, but I'm worried I'm going to get one issue and then 6 months later we'll see another issue.
I think he's good at his pacing, though. That's the one thing I have to say is him and the person he works with his colors. When they do it, that Lemire run of Green Arrow, it seemed to me it went flawless. Yeah. So I think they figured it out. They got him, he did what he needed to. Once again, I do love his art, but I do know that our lead character will look like Oliver North, Ollie, and iVampire. They get the lead actor in that, and unfortunately, it's always the same blonde kid that he puts in all of them.
Yeah, they do. They do look a lot alike, don't they?
Yeah,
for sure. But that's gonna be cool. I'm excited for that. For sure. So I'm gonna bug you a little more. Did you go see Justice League?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It was fine. There's lots of things you can nitpick about. There's lots of things I'm sure eventually I will go through and pick at. It was good. As good as, like you said, any Avenger, Marvel movie, whatever. It's just I went in with a lot of people that hyped it up because they were DC fans. I did see all the critics or other people that were Marvel that didn't care for it.
Right.
And like you said, I probably would not have noticed CGI issues if nobody had mentioned them to me. It would have seemed weird, but I wouldn't have known what to look for. Just the same way as I used to not know what to look for in bad movies. I like Tango and Cash. I like Meathead movies. Like I like my Meathead comics.
Yeah.
But as you grow, as you experience, there is easier things to find and pick at and stuff like that.
Sure.
I hope this doesn't cause any delays in anything else. It doesn't stop any, because I want the Shazam movie. That's what I'm waiting for. So I really hope this doesn't affect it. But otherwise, I enjoy it. I'll probably buy it on DVD.
It'll be curious to see what happens because, of course, they were like 100 million short of what they thought they would be by the end of that first weekend. So that's not good as far as that goes. Everybody already knows my opinion. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I mean, was it perfect? No, but was it a fun superhero movie? I thought it was. So yeah.
I guess the one thing I do want to throw out there, the biggest issue actually I had with the whole movie is Bruce Wayne goes to Iceland to talk with Aquaman, and he's in the bar, and he says, "I need you, Aquaman. The horribleness is coming. We're assembling a league. Oh, by the way, I'm Batman. Is it okay that I said I'm Batman in front of these 50 people? Are they all Atlanteans? No, they're really just regular people, and I probably shouldn't have announced that I'm Batman in front of them."
Mm-hmm.
That was my big
thing. I guess I might have had issue with that, but I was so quickly stunned by what's his name, Magnificent Self, as he strolls out into the water, peeling his shirt off and whatnot, that, and his fabulous beard. I'm just like, when Momoa did that, I'm like, okay, whatever, that in the audience, I was setting in, there was an audible from at least 50% of the audience. So, it's like, okay, whatever. But so, I guess I've been on other shows and talked about it. For me in the movie, I'm just stunned at how much I actually like Aquaman, because I've tried reading Aquaman, but I've never been an Aquaman fan. Really, I think the character is a silly character, and Jason Momoa made me interested in the character and what he's about and what he might have. So
he's pretty sexy.
What was that, Rez?
He's pretty sexy.
Oh yeah, there's no denying that.
Indeed.
There's absolutely no denying. Because I love that scene, because what cracks me up is he's like walking along and he's telling Bruce Wayne, I'm not interested. I got my own stuff to do. He says this quote backwards, basically. So he's wearing boots. He's got pants on. He's got this awesome looking sweater, and he's walking towards the water, and he peels the sweater off. He doesn't take his boots off, doesn't take his pants off, whatever, and then just strolls into the water. It's like, why did he bother to take the sweater off too? I mean, I know why for the movie why they did it, but I just thought it was funny.
I told you it's because of Whedon. Whedon actually changed it. He originally strips down. He's got the little green shorts, and he puts on a gold chain shirt, and all his hair turns gold, and then he dives in. And the beard falls off. It's all CGI.
It's all secret. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know. I like I said, thought the movie was fun and whatnot. But
looking forward to that Aquaman movie. So.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Well, do you think about this whole? Do you think because everybody's complaining about DC? They think DC needs to stop trying to do this whole shared universe and concentrate on just doing these self-contained movies. Do you think they need to focus on doing self-contained?
I think it'd be smart of them to, because I think what we know that they're leading up to for their next movie, I don't think that's, I don't know. Maybe they're too scared to make that work, to have big bad versus big good. It's so much easier to put a whole bunch of fun, different styles of stories out there.
Yeah,
but I think it's like we said with, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I think it's like the Batman books we always say. They're always trying to sell Batman amount of issues, so that's what they want to do with the movies. It's like with Marvel, Guardians. Everything has to be Guardians of the Galaxy style movie. That's why Thor did well. It was Guardians. It was nothing like the other Thor movies.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said, because I said that. You know what? I'm so glad someone else agrees with me, because I said that, and everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, that Thor movie was such a Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. Wasn't it? Was it not?
Yep.
Oh my God! So glad you said that.
Well, now I really don't need to see that Thor movie.
You didn't believe. You almost didn't believe me, probably. When I
don't know. I mean, you said that, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know that I want to. I mean, because the Guardians of the Galaxy are my least favorite of the Marvel movies. So,
second.
There you go.
I'm telling you, wasn't it such a ripoff of it? It was kind of like the same kind of flavor of it.
Music, the color pops, the wittyisms. I mean, that's what they said. Hey, these work in Guardians. Let's do it.
Yep. It was.
And I mean, I just want different styles. I know the Thor movies were not good, but that's what I liked about them. It was it was the gods. They were supposed to be the Norse gods, which, just makes this whole thing even more tough to explain now that they're aliens, but, is all these other creatures they encounter aliens? I don't know.
Did you read the interview that was done by some of the heads of DC, where they were talking about how they were going to try to start getting away from doing the shared universe, Sarge, and they were going to start trying to maybe. No. Okay, because I was thinking that they were going to start maybe just kind of concentrate more on doing these self-contained. But
I think they'll end up doing that anyway, just because it's going to be a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to do an individual movie because then you're paying for one or two big actors, right? I mean, because you think about it, you put Ben Affleck and I'm assuming that Gal Gadot is getting paid hopefully well now. I hope she's smart enough to really be demanding top dollar. You start putting all those people in the same movie together, and I'm assuming the price tag, regardless of all the other stuff that goes on, just their wages alone crank the price up of the movie. So if it's a movie with just one of them in it, just one star or two stars, the hero and the bad guy, I would think it would cost less too, as far as that goes. I would assume what's going to happen is they'll shy away from another Justice League movie right away. They will try some individual movies, see how that sticks. And if the individual movies do well, then and everybody's excited by those characters individually still, then they may look at going back to another big movie again. Yeah. But I'm with Mike. I would rather them all have their own tone. They don't all need to be Wonder Woman, though Wonder Woman clearly is the high mark for the DC movies, I think. So yeah, I mean, I would prefer them to be, have their own, each of them have their own soul, as opposed to basically trying to market the same movie over and over again with just different, plugging in different heroes. I mean, to some degree, it's going to be the same story because, your standard superhero comic book is the same. It's the same story. It doesn't matter whether, to some degree, whether it's Spider-Man, Captain America, Batman, Superman. To some degree, they're kind of the same. I mean, there's elements that are just, that's what that kind of movie is. And I don't, so they're all going to have a sameness in some sense or another. But like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm curious to see what's next. I hope this doesn't just absolutely make Warner Brothers decide that they don't want anything to do with it. I think it's unfortunate because I think Warner Brothers was really hoping that this would be the next Harry Potter, because they're still looking for that. Harry Potter did so well for them. Now they're just trying to look for what that is. And I think they thought they were hoping that this would be it. But I think that because of the way Justice League was made, and it was made before Wonder Woman, and then after Wonder Woman was released, of course, then Snyder had some problems. He had to get off the film, and so you had Whedon finish it up, which I don't know if that's a good thing. But anyway, I think they tweaked some stuff to move things closer to what some of the Wonder Woman movie represented. And so I don't know, hopefully they didn't lose so much money on Justice League that they still feel like that they have a vision for what the DC universe should look like, and they'll keep moving forward with the better movies. I hope. But and I'm just kind of glad to see the comments, and the comments are basically kind of match up to what we're saying. Justice League was fun. It was a mess, but it kind of had its stuff. So.
Yeah, because I mean, they have to work hard enough to get beyond Shazam to that Dr. Fate movie that we're waiting on.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. Never gonna happen. So.
Well, anyway, Constantine, right? I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, true. That was weird.
It would be great for them to do another Justice League, and then from the makers of DC's Justice League, Sandman, and just watch people freak out when that hits the theaters.
Oh my god!
That'd be horrible.
With 100% Grant Morrison influence. That's what we want.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I don't know. So I'm gonna So Fred's saying he's just waiting for the Blue Devil movie.
Yeah.
you're gonna have a long wait. I'm totally with you, but you're gonna have a long wait. So yeah, I'm gonna talk some other DC comics. Get back at talking comics because it's like, let's go to the source material. I picked up this new #1, Demon, Hell on Earth.
I hear this one.
Really big fan of the character. This wasn't as bad as the Dead Man that came out like last week or the week before. That to me was just the side of completely unreadable. I don't know. Art was okayish. The writing was okayish. It's kind of the standard so far regular thing. You know, what's that?
How does the art look?
It's okay. It's by Brad Walker, which I was excited about because he did some I thought he was doing Aquaman for a while. So I mean, some of it is fine, and other parts of it. This page bothers me. So you got this kind of, I don't know what you want to call these lines, drama lines here, as he's struggling through the mirror over a bottle of booze. But I don't understand why the mirror has those lines coming off of it too. It's just dumb little things like that sometimes pull me out of the comic and make me go, why did they make that choice? Because that just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, it's 4 or 5 pages of him arguing with himself about a dream and about whether or not, Intricate is going to get out or Jason's going to keep in control. And then we have some some drama. Madame Xanadu's in the book. Madame Xanadu's another character I really like. She's cruising around on a motorcycle and being a badass. She gets hit on by some creepy guy with a beard. Those damn creepy guys with beards. He tries grabbing her and she basically knocks him cold with her motorcycle helmet. And the other guy's like, dude, he just wanted to drink. And she's like, oh, I know. Clearly he wanted more than just a drink. And they're like, he calls her like a fat cow or something like that, which of course is ridiculous. And she's like, oh, a cow, huh? The next scene we see her in, she's standing with a bunch of cows that are wearing baseball caps and stuff. Needless to say, and she turns them into cows. But there's some evil bad guy that's got control. They're out in Death Valley, and some evil force has got control of this general, and he shoots a nuclear warhead off, and it goes off in the Death Valley. So there's a nuclear explosion. Some people get killed. Some people get turned into like nuclear demons, and that's kind of the book ends with him. See this page? Can you see that? Does it look like it's hard to see what the hell all is going on? I mean, if you can get individually, it looks kind of cool. Oh yeah, here he looks like a badass, right? I don't understand this weird little strip panel here. But I mean, it looks cool there. But because the colors and there's literally no panels here, I mean, the panels are just kind of, I think the page needed actual, you know what I mean? Here's a line. Here's a line. Here's a line. I mean, they're there, but looking at that page together, because the colors are all kind of the same, it blended together a lot for me. And I don't know. So it was all right. It's 6 issues. I'll probably hang around for the whole thing because I like the character. Kind of curious to see what happens. But at the same time, there's nothing special here. I'm going to be a Debbie Downer on a lot of comics today. I'll tell you right now.
I hear you.
Let's just get this out of the way too, because people love hearing me complain about this. Wonder Woman issue number 35. Wonder Woman is in 2 pictures in this book. She is actually physically on the cover more than she is inside her own damn book. This is the secret origin of Wonder Woman's brother, because that's why we read the Wonder Woman comic, so we can find out about a brother that didn't exist, but now suddenly does. And it's not even an interesting story about obnoxiously 3/4 of the movie, 3/4 of the book is narrated by Jason of Jason and the Argonauts, and they have him talking this silly kind of lingo where he shortens the words. He sounds like he's half Italian and half Australian. Because the Australians are wonderful at shrinking things down to half a consonant for this big long word. Instead of saying crocodile, they don't even say croc. It's just croc, right? That's right. If there's anybody from Australia listening, I love you. And I love the fact you do that. I don't understand what you're saying half the time, but I love it. But it's obnoxious in here to have an entire story narrated that way. Yeah, I just think it's BS. I think it's BS that this storyline is going on. It's a crime. It's a crime to the Wonder Woman character. You know, if you want to go so far as to think that people go and watch a movie and then try and find comic books, I don't know if they do, but I do have occasionally people tell me that they do that. This is not going to give them anything. You know, this is not something that your local comic book shop will be able to point out and go, oh, you want to read Wonder Woman? Yeah, read that. You know, you saw the Wonder Woman movie? Oh yeah, read that. No, not at all. Get the hell away from this, because it's not anything like that what you'd want to read. So I don't know. I saw somebody on Twitter saying that clearly the DC, you know, Metal or whatever the hell that event is called is a Batman centric book. It looks like that the Doomsday Clock book is going to be a Superman centric event, that there needs to be a Wonder Woman centric event. I agree with that, except for they need to fix her actual book first. Again, they need to get back and put real people that I don't know, have some different vision. I won't say passion, because I'm not saying the Robinson and the artist, which I top of my head can't remember, Lucapello. I'm not saying they don't have passion for what they're doing, but we need a different vision. And then I'd be happy to see a Wonder Woman event. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't get it either. But I don't know. Just boo hiss, boo hiss. Another boo hisser. Hellblazer, issue number 16, new writer on the book. So I was like, yay. You know, because Tim Seeley, I was excited for him to be on the book. His one arc did nothing for me. So we got Cadre on the book. I'm understanding is that he's a novelist of some sort. This issue was meh. It wasn't awful. Zero special about it, though. At the same time, it is kind of like a detective story. It's set in San Francisco. Constantine bitches about the San Francisco things. The bitches kind of come off flat. I can't imagine that the next issue is going to blow my mind. So when I get the next issue, I'm probably done. I'm dropping off of Hellblazer yet again. Maybe it is unfair for me to continue to compare it to the Vertigo run of the book, but it needs to be closer to the Vertigo run of the book. They need to get an artist on the book that it's dark, that it's gritty. You know, that when I see a scene that has wet stuff in it, it feels wet. When it's bone dry and ash, I should be able to feel that. Whereas this art looks like superhero comic book art, and Hellblazer shouldn't have superhero comic book art. It just shouldn't. It's a horror book where he does heroics.
This looks reminiscent of didn't look like late 90s looking, the cover at least.
I mean, the inside art isn't the can I get around the ads here? I don't know. It's just very. It's just very.
It's like Avatar. It looks like Avatar, like old school Avatar.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Why can't I think of his name? I know. Look like Jose Juan Rip. This Juan Jose Rip. His style doesn't look like Juan Jose Rip's style.
Yeah. And this is David Fabre, but I don't know. I mean, it's just
it's
too clean. It's too clean. It's too neat. It's not right. It's not right. Okay, I'll talk about the one DC book that I actually liked this week. I continue to really like Batgirl. I love this book a lot. I love Wild Goose's art. He does a really good job of kind of capturing kind of a youthful, not in the same way as the guy who's doing Super Sons, but in the same way in the fact that this guy has his own style, but it still kind of captures all the great stuff about being more youthful type superheroes. I enjoy all of that. This was the end of this Summer of Lies arc where basically Batgirl and Nightwing readdress past history. They dealt with some stuff in the past. It has kind of come back to haunt them. And this is the issue that they kind of, finish that out in. But we get some great kind of flashbacks. I even love the flashbacks in this, the early days of where when Dick Grayson is Robin, and they literally just introduced themselves to each other in this thing. So you're getting very early stories about them and whatnot. And I love, they got her in the old Batgirl costume with the big yellow belt and the grays. I love that costume. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun kind of a romp through. I know what you did last summer, kind of a thing. They tangle with they pulp Mad Hatter pretty good. But it's in the future. It deals with their kind of relationship and where the relationship is now, having had clearly a very close boyfriend girlfriend type relationship, and they're not there now just because of the headspace that they're both in. But they're still friends. They're trying to figure out how to be friends around that, along with dealing with this Red Queen person who has all these robots and stuff, and just some fun things go on in it. So, like I said, really like the art. I even like the action scenes are pretty awesome in it. I just continue to listen to all those books that I just really, really great ending shot there. Really, really enjoy. Just love the flavor.
So when did she used to wear that outfit?
Way back. It's the original Batgirl costume.
So Silver Age kind of Batgirl?
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. Right. It would be like, I don't want to throw a date out there because someone's going to jump on me about the fact I had the date wrong. But yeah, early Silver Age, she had a gray costume. Not exactly this, but a gray costume, black bat, yellow, and this is kind of an interpretation. It's not the exact costume, because I noticed at one point she had the hood. She had the full cowl, too. I actually really like this version of it. I think it's pretty cute. If she went to this as being her official costume, if they got rid of the Burnside one, I'd be totally down with her going back to this style. The Burnside one makes more sense though, because it gives her a helmet to protect her head and that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I like the big wide mask and whatnot. I think she's kind of cool there, as opposed to the purple outfit. But yeah, just really, like I said, really enjoyed it.
I always find that there's a little the difficulty I have with some DC books is it's the wink and the nod that all continuity is still there, but they can still change it however they want because they are where they're at. So that's always, I think, what feels like I'm being fooled is they're like, they show a penguin, you're like, oh, penguins, and they said, mechanical penguins, and you're like, oh, Tim Burton days, and then they're like, oh no, it's really something else. And it's it's almost, for somebody who's big into continuity like I was, that's what I loved about Marvel. And I guess that's what makes me that Marvel zombie. It's because I can guess what's going to happen because of the continuity, because of what I know. It almost feels like they pull one over on you, but maybe that's also what keeps it fresh. That I didn't see that coming. So
right, that's the two side of it. I mean, DC lost a lot of fans when they did the New 52, because they threw it all out the door and literally started from scratch. These people had only been superheroes, some of them for 5 years, some of them right now, and they started the entire universe over again. Really ballsy of DC, to do that. I get why they would do that, but the problem was they threw out all the continuity and then just started putting the same crap, and I'm not saying crap bad, but they're just putting the same stuff back in to the book. It's like, why do that? Why not just leave it there? And of course with the Rebirth, they kind of gone somewhere in between. There's new stuff, there's old stuff, some stuff stuck, some stuff didn't stuck, and you're not knowing. So if you are really intent on everything making sense from the very first time Batgirl ever showed up in something to now, yeah, it's a hot stinky mess, as far as that goes. I fall into the camp of, whereas I like, in some sense, like things to be the same because I know, it's all one big story. I like to be surprised, and I like to be reading something that seems fresh, and it can't if everything's stagnant, kind of thing. But what's weird is some stuff stays stagnant and some stuff moves. So it's kind of those two sides to it. I totally get both ends of it, kind of a thing where the continuity is important and cool, but at the same time, throw it out the door so you can do something different. So
I kind of wondered, I know you were talking with somebody about Batman and how much you're liking Batman now compared to the first couple runs, or, you know, as you're getting used to Tom King's Batman.
Right.
The only thing I wondered about is because he did the big machine and kind of redid a new body and downloaded his brain, I always wondered if somebody was going to come through and say it was an incomplete copy. And that's why he's slightly different. Because then I think I could have accepted all of this from the beginning, that it's in a way a different Bruce.
So that's all you need. All you need is Tom King to drop in somewhere and say, "Oh well," you know, some mystic thing. Say, "Oh well, he's not the perfect Batman. He's this Batman," and then you could roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll tweet that to Tom King. He just needs to put a narration box in there somewhere, voice of God, you know, and then you're gonna just go,
Yeah.
"Oh, cool."
Well,
That's funny. I'm looking at the comments. Terrence is here. Comic Crack. He's saying live from the throne.
Yes.
And Mike's
make me flush.
In the Mike cave there, right? And so Jockey was saying he'll be shocked if Doomsday Clock doesn't screw up the current continuity. I'm assuming it's at least gonna mess with the the Superman continuity again. I mean, because it just felt to me like we just messed up Superman with the whole Metroplex, whatever that was called, whatever that was called, Metroplex, where he kind of merged all the Supermen together, all the different versions of him. Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know what that's gonna be like. And Terrence was commenting on my Batman Christmas shirt. Yes, I absolutely love this shirt. My it's pretty awesome, right? I think it's classy. You'll see it every weekend through the month of December, probably, unless of course I forget to put it on. So, at any rate, yeah, I don't know. It'll be all that continuity stuff. We'll see how that all plays out. But I don't know. I don't know what the Doomsday Clock. I'm not getting it. I'll be curious to see how it affects my comics. So far, I haven't seen anything in solicitations that say that anything that I'm reading is tying into it, which makes me happy. So I hope that stays to be the way or whatnot. So I don't know.
To touch back a little bit on when we were talking Doctor Strange, you were saying that you're collecting them. I think there is going to be a contained, like, 4-part, corner universe story. Touch a couple books, but not like mess with everybody's book.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see how that all plays out. I don't know. I get tired of it. I mean, I get the idea of the crossover because it's a shared universe. You feel like everything's connected to everything else, but at the same time, when it throws off somebody else's storyline, a storyline screeches to a halt, so you can tell this little one shot of something or other. You get like, you're reading, Nightwing off, fighting some X-Spiral agents, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of that, there's some metal tie-in, and then he goes back to fighting them again. It's like, so, yeah. Boo.
I did buy quite a few DC books, metal-wise. I wouldn't normally buy, thanks to the Rossimo art. The Sedgwick art, I was just picking up due to artist. So I didn't really care. The storyline was interesting and fun, but I just did it for the art. So. Oh, sure. And that's, I mean, there's lots of comic books that I'm tempted to pick up because the art on the cover looks so awesome, because it's great art, regardless of what's inside, kind of a thing. And certainly, if it's got great artists like you really like, it's easy to kind of cherry pick just the books to see the eye candy you want to see, and then not touch anything else. That's for sure. You get a sense of it. That at some point you're going to be able to, pick it up in the library in some sense, probably. So if any part of that really struck you as curious enough to go back and check that out, you can, kind of a thing and whatnot. So yeah, I hear enough good stuff about it. I may pick it up and trade, but I haven't heard people's minds completely blown other than particular issues. The last one, for instance, that came out last week, right? I mean, that kind of sounds like that blew everybody's mind. Yeah. So just as a side note, as an art collector, that comic book, the pages went on sale, the Riley Roswell pages, and they were sold out in less than an hour. I can see that. Yeah.
Literally every page of that book was gone in less than an hour. So good for them.
Yeah.
he's making bank doing these Batman books. So yeah. Jocko's saying the crossovers are here to stay, unfortunately. Oh yeah, but they've been around forever in some sense. I mean, it feels like there's a lot more of them now. And I say that, and that just may be my perception, because of course, as an adult, I'm in a place right now where I can buy a lot more books, so it affects a lot more of my books. But I remember as a kid, there would be crossovers there too. And when I first started buying comics, there'd be crossovers, and I wouldn't get it because I'm like going, where's the rest of wherever at? I don't know, unless I read the little editor's box that told me go see comic whatever to read it, kind of a thing. So yeah. Alrighty. Any DC news that we haven't already touched upon? I don't. Can't think of anything.
No.
Yeah, already talked about the doom and gloom of the finances of the movie. So see where that goes from there, huh? Alrighty, want to talk some independent books?
Yeah.
So Rez can talk for a while. What do you want to talk first, Rez?
Let's see. I think the standout for me, I guess it was more perplexing for me, not necessarily a standout as in was the best book for me, was the Tim Seeley Vertigo book.
Imaginary Fiends.
Yes, Imaginary Fiends for me. Yeah.
Yes.
Number one. I liked where they were trying to go with this book. I liked the idea of it. The character, the imaginary element that was thrown in this book was very familiar to me. I read it somewhere before. I don't know if it came from another Tim Seeley book, or if I read it in another book before. But it was I do remember seeing this character somewhere, and it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Which character?
The character on the cover, the one with the mask.
Peaches, or what was?
Yeah, Polly Peaches.
Polly Peaches. Yes, Polly Peaches.
Yeah, Polly Peaches. That character is, and I don't know why it's not coming to me, because usually, I'm really good at names.
Polly Peach Pit. Yeah, that's what it is. Polly Peach Pit.
Polly Peach Pit. That I'm telling you that I do recall.
So visually, that looks like somebody or the character itself. I mean, the characterization.
Characterization.
Because visually, here, this is Polly Peach Pit.
I want to say the character came. I want to say the character seems so familiar. Maybe House of Secrets. Maybe it reminds me, which is also a Vertigo book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it reminds me of a character that came out of House of Secrets. Maybe the newer rendition from Vertigo. Maybe, I don't know. I can't recall. I'm going to look through my collection.
Okay.
But maybe by next month I'll have it.
Okay.
Off the tip of my tongue.
I mean, because to me, visually, the character looks like, the white face and whatnot looks like some Japanese animation stuff that I've seen, like Princess Amoki or however you say that. There's a character in there that has kind of a white mask. This kind of reminded me of in some sense. She also looks like something out of Samurai Jack, to be quite honest, as far as the whole black, long-fingered, kind of a thing and whatnot.
Number 4, it's just she evokes so much like just memories that in emotion.
Okay.
And so I mean, while I was reading this story, I just kept thinking I've seen this before, and where have I seen her before?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I found this interesting. I like the setup where we're seeing these teenagers,
right.
Or these preteens, transitioning into teenagers. They're not quite teenagers yet. They're smoking a joint, and then we have this girl, cascading from the woods, seemingly needing help, and this one boy had a crush on this girl, and he thinks he's gonna get his chance into getting a kiss.
I love that.
Yes, exactly. I love that part too. And then she touches his face. He thinks he's gonna be able to use the CPR that he knows.
Right.
And she touches his face, and there's blood on his face. He's shocked. He's scared. And then all of a sudden, we skip over to 6 years later, where one of the teenagers that was in that group is in a mental ward, you know, insane asylum, and
yeah, it's a juvie hall. It's a juvie hall and juvie hall detention center. So it's psychiatric help, and you're there because you're a criminal, right?
A dual facility, and she's being beat up and forced to take a shower by some of her peers, you know, fellow inmates, and then she's being greeted by one of her roomies, and you know, she has a cake for her, you know, wishing her happy birthday and telling her, well, you know, she's like, well, you're not like what the news has described you as. And then next thing you know, she's kind of being, she's, you know, told that she's a visitor. It's an FBI agent, and he's showing her a video clip. And, you know, she's shown this video clip at 15-second mark. And apparently there's a part of the video that only she's able to see. There's an entity, some kind of, you know, alien entity or like a micro entity.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you would consider your cute imaginary friend. It's a big, like, you know, giant, like, dragon snake thing, wearing a cowboy hat, on a tricycle, you know, all except sounds cute.
Yeah, and only she has the ability to sense it. So she, you know, because she's able to sense this entity, they want to work with her, and so they recruit her. They're going to exploit her pretty much. And with the promise of commuting her sentence and utilizing her abilities to track out and suss out these entities, they're going to pretty much allow her to
right.
Because
the alien entities that come across as imaginary friends, they start out as nice, wholesome imaginary friends, and then they slowly. They're getting whatever their substance, their existence off of that. That's what they live off of. And as time goes by, that's not enough for them. So then it starts moving into fear. It starts moving into those kinds of emotions is where they're feeding off of. So whereas they start out as cute imaginary friends, they move into being sinister monsters, which is where Polly Peachpitch is. I mean, they tell her that they want her to be an agent to work for them, but they want her to work with Polly Peachpitch. She's like, I want nothing to do with Polly Peachpitch. But they're like, that's the only way you're getting out of it. Otherwise, you're going off to prison, and prison's going to make this place where she gets beat up all the time anyway look like a cakewalk. So she threatens to do herself in. She threatens to kill herself to make Polly Peachpitch behave to help her. So they're going to go about hunting down other murders, lost children, all that kind of stuff, as this dual agent that nobody can see the Polly Peachpitch. Looks interesting. I mean, I like the first issue. I like the premise of it, the idea of it, you know. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where it goes. I mean, I wasn't mind blown by it, but it was fun. Yeah, I'm curious to see what it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, I had some questions. It was just some parts of it where I felt like it could have worked a little more. I think maybe the execution could have been a little bit more. I think where it lost me, I truly felt where it lost me, whereas when the agent came in and showed her the video, and it made it a little bit more. It took me out of the video. It took me out of the comic was when he showed her the video. That's where it truly took me out of the video. I completely found myself out of the comic was when he started showing her the clip, and I saw the end. I was like, well, I can't believe this. Like, I mean, like, you know, I'm all here for anything, but I said, I'm a little out of it now. Like, I feel like the entity could have looked a little different. Maybe the imaginary friend could have looked the imaginary fiend could have looked a little entirely different. Maybe if it was drawn a little differently. I don't know, but I don't know, you know. But I think I got back in it after. I think after that. That one moment.
Because there was a certain mood up until the point where we get to that agent, it kind of changed the way it was.
Yeah, that moment did take me out of it, I have to admit. So maybe it was just something about that one moment, but it did take me out of it for sure. That one moment, which is what didn't blow me away for this comic. So,
but I like that whole beginning part where we get this kind of character built up about these middle schooler kids, basically. And yeah, his whole trying to get the girl and all that kind of stuff. That was pretty cool.
I do. And you know, and you notice how the tone just changed. You know what, too? How we saw that same individual where he, because I think we're going to almost glaze over that. How he was hoping to get that kiss. We see that same individual later on circle back at the very end of the issue, where he now has his own Polly Pit Peach, who is once Revenge,
right?
And she is taking over, and she wanted to revenge on Polly Pitch Peach, whatever, Polly Pit Peach, whatever.
Well, it's hard to say, right?
Right?
Yes, Polly Pitch. Polly Peach Pit. Yes.
Peach, yep. You know it. We know it.
Yes. Very true.
Yeah.
I think it's like only 6 issues, though. I think this is a short little thing, I think.
Well, all Vertigo books usually go up to about six issues, right?
Yeah.
I think Frostbite went through 6 issues as well.
6 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of glad to see that Vertigo hasn't completely died off. You know, I'm seeing a revival here. I think maybe they the fact that IDW, and kind of picking up. Maybe
they keep talking about the fact that 2018 is going to be a revival year for Vertigo. That they're going to push new stuff and whatever. I don't know what that's going to be. I mean, we haven't seen anything to actually make it seem like that's really going to happen. I don't know.
Well, also back out, so it's only natural. I would just, a lot of my back issues and a lot of my collection is Wildstorm, Vertigo. I mean, like a lot of the off French stuff. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Vertigo and Wildstorm, to be quite honest. So, like, if that stuff comes back, I mean.
I just hope the imprint is more, because right now what it really feels like mostly is that it is a place for the creators who have signed exclusive contracts with DC that they can do other books besides just superhero books. And I want it to be more than that. I want Vertigo to be its own thing, to have its own vision of wanting to do stuff. And it was that way back in its heyday. That's what it was. And the people who made it that, of course, have moved on. So I don't know. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that they get something like that they get people working for them. But I don't know what the appeal is to working there as opposed to working for Image or whatever. There's, I know there's contract stuff that we who are not in the business don't know about. That, how does that work? I mean, I know you give up certain rights by having it produced by, Vertigo. It's a lot longer before you get like the media rights back and stuff like that. And in this day and age where potentially your book could get picked up and made into a television show or a movie, you'd like to have more of that money in your pocket as a creator, I would assume. So, yeah, I don't know. That may be all deterrent too. If you can get a better deal out of Image or whatever, I think it's going to be a lot harder for Vertigo to reestablish itself as something. But we'll see. I guess I keep picking up all the Vertigo books, so they can live off of my paying for the books alone, I guess. So.
I know what you're saying.
What else do you want to talk about?
Let's see. I picked up Glitter Bomb.
Right?
Yes.
This is the second season, right? Yeah.
Season 3rd issue. It's getting pretty good. I actually did enjoy this issue. It's getting steadily, progressively better. I mean, it's not a bad season at all. There hasn't been yet a bad issue at all. It's a book. It's that deals with a monster that feeds off of pain, greed, anger, revenge, and it feeds off the people in Hollywood. It's a perfect place to lay dormant. So, this is where it lays dormant, and it just feeds off of the people who want and desire fame. And so we have the previous character Farah from the first season, who went in front of that dinner where she, one agent that she fed off of, and they were throwing celebration for him, and she went off in the award ceremony, and she, was taken down by all the officers and stuff like that. Well, the second season is dealing with that one officer that had to kill Farrah, right? We're dealing with that one officer and his PTSD from killing Farrah. We're dealing with a young babysitter that had to watch Farrah's son while watching her on television get killed by that one police officer. And we're dealing with the fact that the young boy, Farrah's son, is now without his mother. And this seemingly young babysitter, teenage babysitter, is now, being thrust into the spotlight at the young ripe age of 14. And now everybody is wanting to hear her experience, as wanting to know who Farrah is. Like, who is this Farrah woman? Like you were her babysitter. Who was she really? Who was Farrah? And so now she is feeding off of this, of wanting the attention of, like seeing that she's being put into the spotlight, and now this monster obviously wants to feed off of her desire to become famous. So here we are again with this monster feeding off of that, off of her wanting this attention and wanting the fame and wanting the wanting all of this, and this one detective is trying to get to the bottom of what this monster is, and so he's becoming very unhinged, and he's starting to suss out what this creature is, and he actually in this issue encounters the creature, and the creature almost kills him, but when it tries to actually sinks its talons into him, and realizes that it can't really do it, because it doesn't really feed off of the desire to want fame, or he doesn't crave attention. He doesn't crave the same thing that all these other people want in Hollywood. So it runs from him, So this is a very, very intriguing book, and it continues to be very intriguing. I really, really like Glitter Bomb, and I'm really curious as to what issue 4 brings to the table. I really, really like Jim Zub. So usually when he comes out with a book and title, I look forward to seeing what the next title entails. So really like it. I mean, she actually this issue also is dealing with the interpersonal relationships that she has with her friends. So we see her also go to her friend's house because her mother kicks her out the house last issue. So now she's, this little girl, Kaden, whatever her name is, this little 14-year-old girl that's being thrust into the spotlight. Now she's at her friend's house, and she may kill her friend, because she's in possession of this creature, that preys upon people, So we don't know what's gonna happen, but it's on a rampage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting. I mean, it's intriguing to see where it went to from, the first season, that had to deal a lot more with the Hollywood aspect of it and how it's kind of spun out of that. It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's still on the Hollywood aspect, but it's definitely pointing out the fact that depending on its host, what it can draw from you. So there's what this creature is saying is that, oh, Farrah was weak. Well, we sense that you're stronger, So it tells this next host, we can make you stronger. We can, know that you're stronger than that last person. And it could be a total lie.
Just tells you what you want to hear. Right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Did you happen to read Saucer State?
I sure did.
What the hell is going on? I'm lost now. I'm lost. And then there's only one more issue.
God, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh my God, how is this next issue gonna even wrap this up? How? Like, are they gonna come out with a Saucer City? Or Saucer?
Right, because I mean, I'm totally on board with the whole, what the ex-husband gets exposed to in this. It's all in your head. It's all in your inner brain, your outer brain. And I'm like checking the cover going, has any of the cover come off in my hands? Because clearly I've been doped by something. Because you made this up. You did this. Yeah, I mean, yes, right. Oh, yeah, they kind of, and then he gets pissed off. He's like, "You better not be telling me that I sexually abused myself."
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But they do imply, no, the other people can control, because the little gray men,
yeah,
are they're there, but they're not. They're there, but they're not there.
Yeah,
they only exist because people exist, and if you understand that, you can control them. Supposedly, what?
Yeah, great, mind blown.
Who spiked the water? You know, and then there's the whole, there's the little bit of presidency stuff in here. Oh, you go do this because I have to deal with the Russians. They're going to deal with the Russians in a whole.
That was, yeah.
And the reason this book, I mean, all kinds of stuff got dumped in this, and it's not necessarily the stuff in itself is confusing.
Yeah.
But it makes it confusing when you know there's only one more issue left.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't drop this on us, the whole fairy thing and how that all works, and then say, there's only one more issue. In 20 pages, this is all summed up in some fashion.
Exactly.
Right now, I feel really bad for having bought this second run. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I was having fun with the book. I love the art until this issue. This issue just threw such crazy stuff out that it feels like it's going to take another 12 issues to actually work through what we were just told in this. And I know there's only one more issue.
I kind of felt like they revealed. I felt like all that stuff they revealed in this issue could have. Why reveal it to Michael? Because he's kind of unreliable. One.
Well, that's just it. He's already on something, isn't he? Didn't he get totally whacked out of his brain and then wander off into the desert?
Exactly.
How much of this are we supposed to accept as being real, and how much of it's him just tripping?
Thank you. So it bothers me because, like we all talk about this in novels, right? In novels, the unreliable character. So why give it to the unreliable character? So one, we already know that our presidential candidate, she's not gonna believe any of this. Yeah. She's gonna have a hard time grasping any of his deliverance of the story. One, she's gonna. Well,
I don't think, to be quite honest, I don't think that he's going to be able to describe what just happened to him. Right? Yeah. It's going to make any sense, because even when he's lucid, even when he's not high on something, he's kind of a chowderhead. He's not like he's going to be able to really in depth explain what the hell he just was supposedly told to him.
Yeah. So this is like, I don't know what's going to happen for this last issue, but it's going to be incomprehensible.
So does this mean there are no actual aliens at all, or is it just the gray aliens that are, in our outer brain? Because supposedly we've gotten contact, right? I mean, this where the book starts out with them saying there's alien contact. The entire world is responding to alien contact.
From what I read in this issue, from what I understand, there's some intellectual beings that have made contact. They're not considered aliens.
This person, right? This person, they've made the contact. They've got and they keep talking about the fact that what I'm telling you isn't going to be perfectly clear. This is kind of performance art because the translation doesn't work right. So
yeah, and he was saying we're not necessarily aliens, but what we're saying is that we're a life form, and we're trying to translate for you to understand that we're coming across from different what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Different worlds.
Because we're trying to explain something that we don't quite understand. So.
I know. But it's like from different worlds, from different, I guess, different time, time loops, I guess, different, so that we can come over and tell you that everything's gonna be okay. But we think everything's gonna be okay.
I guess here's my thing is I perfectly enjoy reading a book and having the book trick me or surprise me is fine. I don't like feeling lied to. Do you know what I mean? And by the time I got done with this issue, I'm like sitting there going, I almost feel like I was lied to. Like they didn't give us enough information for us to not understand that maybe what was there was actually there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It almost felt like a little sense of betrayal reading the book. I was like, oh, okay. So now suddenly you're telling me this.
You know what? I think maybe they rushed the fact. I think they rushed maybe bring this book back. Maybe they could.
No, it's been a long time before this book come back, but I mean,
well, maybe they could have held out and maybe had more issues put out. You mean it could have been a longer running book. It could have been more than just what was put out. You know, instead of having.
Well, so then that's the writer's fault for not figuring out how to write this in 6 issues. Then,
you see what I'm saying?
Granted, who knows? We may get issues.
How do you think? Don't you think it could have been 12, not 6? You see what I'm saying? You're not. It couldn't have been a long. You know, you see. I mean, I don't know. Just personally, I would prefer it to be 12.
Well, like I said, what got dumped on us here feels to me like that they can now spend another 6 issues just working through what just got dumped on us in this issue.
If we had 6, wouldn't you have preferred this to be more like a 56-page kind of thing? Like a double feature kind of thing, you know?
Right. I don't know. Like I said, maybe surprised the 6th issue comes out and I'll be here going, oh no, it all worked out perfectly. It's all okay. Because I'll have known the ending by then. Yeah. But I've read a lot of comic books in my life. I just have a hard time grasping where this book goes in a single issue. I'm just kind of dumbfounded.
Yeah. Was I befuddled for this issue? Yes, I have to admit there was a lot of befuddlement.
Yeah. I don't. I'm asked.
That whole issue. I mean, that whole situation where he was like, so we made that up. Where you were telling me that, yeah, that was a little.
I tweeted CDC, comic to comic, because he's the only other person I know that actually reads the book too. So I look forward to getting some sort of a reply from him, because he's the only person I know that's been on board the book since the beginning. Besides you, and because I'm just like I just lost. I'm lost. This is just. And how do they tie it up in a single issue? It's going to be fascinating. Like I said, I look forward to being back next month for us to talk about it, because I don't know. I just can't see it. I can't see how it.
So do you? I mean, yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think about the whole ending? The ending about where she was kidnapped by the terrorist. What do you think about that part?
And the ISIS figment of your mind, of your outer mind thing.
Yeah, the whole
I don't know.
How do you feel about that? I mean, because I feel like they're throwing stuff at the end. They keep throwing stuff at us like every single part of the way. So it's like not only just one thing, the Michael thing,
nothing. Well, that's the problem, right? Nothing has been answered. Nothing has been answered, and they just keep adding more and more layers of stuff that make us go, "What the hell?"
Yeah. So, like, how do you feel about that now? So it's never ending. It's never ending, right?
I mean, right. First, this woman was abducted by somebody else. Now she seems to be abducted by.
We didn't even end the fact that she was already suspicious that this place wasn't real, right? We didn't even get to that part. The fact that she was already feeling it wasn't a real space station.
Abduction by terrorist flying saucer of ISIS.
Yeah.
And next next issue is those Russians.
Yeah.
Are y'all excited to get this book, man? Because I don't know. Like I said,
they're gonna have to wrap up each one of these situations within 2 or 3 pages. I mean, just to give us some resolution. That's what I'm just saying. Yeah.
I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it, and I feel like it takes a lot to really lose me in a comic book, and I don't get it. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. What else? What else do you want to talk about? Let's talk about something else that's not so baffling.
Okay. You know what? I have to say one of my favorite comics this week. That I have to say every single time I read, that gives me gives me great warm and fuzzy. Astral City. Astral City. Kirby Smith. This one was a really, really good issue. Like, I don't know. Every time I read Astral City, I just get my warm and fuzzy. It's just so it's very old school. Mm-hmm. It's very good. This one was about a journalist that fighting a good fight. Trying talking about we have just very clearly two different sides. Where we have one side that what is it? Is it one side fighting for
one side is the current situation is there was a secret spaceship on Earth that was hiding some aliens. The spaceship gets wrecked. The aliens need a place to stay, at least until the whole alien conflict gets done with.
Yeah.
So part of the people are pro, let the aliens live here. You know, let's be humanitarians. Let's be the good people. And of course, the other half is the immigrants go home kind of thing. They even have their own superheroes in this.
That's what we're going through right now.
Earth Pride.
Yep. So that's what I liked about this. It just reminded me so much of what we're going through right now in this country.
Yep.
So, that's why I really identify with this, because it's very reminiscent of. It has the same characteristics of what the political climate is right now. So I like that. And I like the whole father-daughter relationship in this, you know, where her father's, you know, very absent. I felt it. I felt it a lot, you know, how she spoke about how he was always, you know, fighting a good fight, you know, she felt like he wasn't really there, and, you know, but at one point she felt his presence, you know, and, you know, I don't know. It was just,
the dad is like a scientist. He's you know, a smart guy working on so much different stuff, but he also takes off to go to every protest there is. I mean, he protests taxes. He protests, you know, Nixon. He he basically is protested. He goes out, and, you know, that's part of his thing, is to go out, be in the streets, you know, be active in, you know, protesting stuff here, having his voice heard in the democracy, and all that sort of stuff and whatnot. And he used to take his daughter along, and then his daughter got older, so she had to stay at home. You know, wife gets sick, he's not around. You know, so you get this kind of building of a wall between father and daughter, because he's so distant, because he's always doing this other stuff. You know, his work leads him into more stuff that has to do with the protests and stuff like that. And then she ends up being a reporter, and her reporting kind of brings her into running into her father's presence, because he's the one that develops this superhero that's called Resistant. And Resistance shows up anytime there's these big protests, when someone is about to be hurt, somebody who's not doing anything wrong is about to be hurt, they show up to defend fairness and that sort of stuff. And people are actually possessed. I mean, it's like a normal person stand there with their protest sign suddenly gets empowered with this energy, and depending on what's going on, multiple people maybe get powered with it, and the more people are powered, the more powerful they are. And they aren't a violent force, they're a defense force, you know, kind of a thing. And she kind of explores, you know, how that happened, and finds out that her father is responsible for that in a sense, and that he is gone, seemingly probably was taken out by you know, some evil corporate guy who was trying to have superpowers made for him personally. He wanted to have superpowers, and instead the guy who does not like big corporations and whatnot uses the big corporation money to basically set this thing free. You know, it's basically open source material, and this corporate guy is not going to profit at all. He gets pissed enough that he has his security guards do the guy in, but his presence is in kind of this superhero thing now, which is all really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the wonderful thing about Astro City is it does such a good job of kind of humanizing the whole superhero atmosphere. I mean, that's kind of
like my superhero books, you know, like that's like my way of being like reading a superhero book. That's why I love Astro City, you know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, because it doesn't focus on necessarily the superheroic itself. It's what makes it all tick. It's you know, it's typically the Astro City, you know, end of the thing and whatnot. And so it's enjoyable. I mean, it's just a kind of a one and done story. Next, I think we actually get a story that's going to go a couple issues, an actual arc of something. But no, you're right. I mean, it's always kind of a solid, fun read. I'm actually nervous about the longer stuff. The longer the arcs are, sometimes those stories don't work as well as for me as the shorter.
Really good though. That Glimmerworks one went on a few issues. I liked it just fine.
Yeah, that one was. I'm thinking back around like issue 20 or so. They had this big long arc that I appreciated from the kind of. It was kind of a feminist view. I can't remember the characters right now. She's kind of like a Wonder Woman analogy.
That's not the lawyer one, right? I like that one too.
No. This was earlier than that, and it's kind of like the men in power, whether in government or in the superheroes, kind of attacking her because she's all about the woman and kind of, you know, that whole, can you be pro-woman and not be anti-man? That whole argument. I like the argument. It just felt like it was like 3 issues longer than what it needed to be to get the point across of that aspect of it. And that's when I got off the book and singles. I got back on the book and singles because of discount comic book services. Yeah, if I buy them in a bundle, they're cheaper. And I've enjoyed them since getting back on it. So I'm not unhappy to be getting the book. So, yeah.
To put a counterpoint onto that, if you're looking for something a little less smart than Mad Magazine, I picked up issue #1 of President Pence here. This follows the Tremendous Trump comic, I believe, and it is just ridiculous satire that I'm sure somebody sat down in 5 minutes and thought of. It is as shallow as this comic is thick. Knucklehead book, and I picked it up just so I'd have something new off the new shelf this week. I was at a shop in a different town, and like everything, Thanos was sold out, and everything else I was looking at this week was sold out. But this, of course, is plenty of these still sitting around, so I picked it up. It's all black and white art. You know, as Trump steps down and President Pence takes over, and you know, he uses the power of white privilege.
Oh my God!
So it is exactly what you would think of if you gave somebody 5 minutes to write a story that doesn't like politics whatsoever in any way.
So it's pure nightmare food, is what that sounds like to me. I mean, that's like the kind of stuff I wake up in a cold sweat going, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, he does get blasted into a mixture of Mad Max and Wizard of Oz. So it is just an entirely crazy, wacky story of kind of like those Uncle Sam DC comics. If they just weren't any good, that would be this. So.
Funny. Ugh. Ugh. I wouldn't be able to spend money on that. I just say it. Even it being satire, no. Some parts of life are just way too serious, and that's one of them that I just can't. Have a hard time poking fun at. So I read Copperhead, issue #16. Am I the only one that reads this?
I read it all. I read it all.
Some of the same comments. You know, Moss on art is okay. If it was Glowinski, Scotty Glowinski, who does the covers, it would be better. You know, he's the original artist on the book. We in this issue, the main thing that's fun in it is the ex-husband is stomping around on the on the planet now. They've captured the sheriff. The sheriff, I mean, the ex-husband has left his girlfriend with the sheriff, which is his ex-wife. He's off to get the treasure. And that's when the sheriff informs the new girlfriend that there is no treasure. The only real treasure is his son. You know, you're here to help pick up his son. And you know, the girl's having nothing to do with it. By the end of the comic, the sheriff is kind of, whether it's true or not, I'm not 100% sure. There might actually be a treasure somewhere, but she has convinced this woman that she's getting screwed by the ex-husband too. So she's kind of like, yeah, I don't, you know. So that's, I think, the chink as to how she's going to escape the situation that she's in. And our alien guy here, the Artie, guy, he is basically, he has drawn guns on the ex-husband, and the ex-husband is getting ready to draw on him. So it's going to be some sort of crazy, shootout, and the son is right there with them. And at the end of it, the ex-husband is saying that, I've been in prison for killing a lot of guys, 17 guys or whatever it is. They've got a number and whatnot, but nobody's bothered to count just how many Arties I've killed in my time, implying that, he's mowed down a bunch of these guys. And these guys are, his race is a genetically created race designed specifically for war. That's all they ever did. And since war is over with, they've had to kind of like either they've all been killed off or they're hiding in the shadows because nobody trusts them, because literally they're only designed to, murder, kill other people in war. So, everybody's on edge about them. But the sheriff has kind of become friends with this guy because this guy seems to like her son. We also find out that her son isn't actually her son. Her son is her twin sister's kid, actually. It was her that was, I don't know how I'm confused by how she is, that Clay is the ex-husband when he was in a relationship with her sister. So they haven't explained that part of it. That's a little confusing as to how that all worked out, kind of thing. But somehow he's responsible for her twin sister's death. So why she would end up marrying him after that, I have no idea. But however that works. So some interesting stuff. Still good. Still kind of enjoyed it.
That'll be explained in Saucer State.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There'll be crossover between those two.
Oh, yeah. Right on. So, Rez, any other books we talk about?
Let's see. What else did we read? You know what? The new Frankenstein and was it Frankenstein?
Yeah. Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil, issue number 2.
Yes, wasn't my favorite book at all this week, but I did like one element of this book, and that is Cthulhu.
Yes, Cthulhu. That's on the cover. That's who's on the cover here.
Yes.
His name is Lewis. He's Cthulhu.
Yes.
Cthulhu, as in not Cthulhu, but Cthulhu. Yeah.
Yes.
There's the great old one, some basically equivalent of Cthulhu.
Yes.
Has to have a person that works for him.
Yes.
This plumber gets picked to be it, so we get this kind of quick origin story of that. I like this issue better than the last issue.
Yeah, better than last.
But my thing still is this doesn't have any weight like Black Hammer does. This is kind of a spin-off of the Black Hammer. Doesn't have any weight of that. It doesn't even really, to be honest, it shows us these other characters, these other supervillains, but it doesn't give us enough about them to give us any reason to really care a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of a fun conversation between him, his wife, their little kid, which is a cute little baby Cthulhu girl. But as funny as that sounds. It's just not, there's no, what's great about the Black Hammer book is it has so much emotional weight, the trappings of superheroes, but there's all this other really depth, this personal stuff that's going on in it. And this just doesn't have any of that. It's just kind of, it's window dressing. It's a further, here's these other characters that existed in the universe that Black Hammer existed in before they got stuck wherever they're stuck out on the farm. Which I'm curious about all this stuff, but I'd rather have it in a story that's interesting. I mean, I get this as a way for them to give Dean Osterman a break. He gets to cool his jets, get caught up, get some issues in his belt without us forgetting about the book. I'm not hating it, but I just don't think it adds anything to the Black Hammer universe, really. Because we're not getting enough about the characters to add to the universe, right?
Yeah, I just feel like it's not. It's like you said earlier, it's kind of hard not to. I mean, it's hard, you don't really care about the characters as much, really, and I'm not invested in any of these characters, unfortunately, and it's just not there. I had a lot of passion for these characters when I read Black Hammer immediately, instantaneously. This one I just don't, and that's unfortunate. So
because they're not giving us any depth, and there's the cute little girl, right? She's dragging her, and look, it's Hellboy. Yeah, she's dragging a Hellboy doll around with her, which I think is awesome. But
I feel like oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was a cute little conversation because she's because the reporter here, Rebecca, she's the daughter of Black Hammer. This little girl is the daughter of a supervillain. And she's like, well, so your daddy was a superhero. My daddy is a supervillain. Maybe we'll be arch enemies down the road. I know it was cute. It was a cute little part.
I feel like this is more like the way it's written, way it's played out. I feel like it's more so like a game because it's ultimately she's trying to track down. It's like this puzzle piece, so she can't find something. She can locate something. It doesn't read like an interesting story.
Yeah, and it's very paint by numbers because like, oh no, now she needs to find this next guy.
Yeah,
that next guy shows up. It's just real convenient.
Yeah. I just feel like a game. Like, oh, we didn't find it. Okay, next issue we're gonna find it. You know, and then no, we didn't find it again. Okay, next. You know, this is boring.
Despite the great Dave Rubin.
Yeah, Rubin.
Rubin artwork. So, yeah, kind of. Oh well. I mean, I'll keep getting it because it's not awful, but it's just light years away from what Black Hammer is.
Yeah.
So another book I picked up Evolution. This is one of the Animosity books. This is number 2. This kind of has to do with San Francisco, City by the Water is what the animals are calling it. In this issue, it's largely about these kangaroo rats that are living out in the desert. They get picked up and become part of the larger community, this animal community, which is kind of barely getting by because it's early like in the first weeks or months of the awakening of all the animals. So they're struggling to get resources, they're struggling to get food. You know, all these animals are coming together, which is great in one sense because they're this large community and they're all working and whatnot, but food is very, very rationed. You know, there's some really tight stuff in there. We're basically introduced to these like four kangaroo rats. They all have old ancient Roman names, like Augusta and stuff like that, because they named themselves because for when the awakening first happened and people ran and all the stuff that happened to them, they were sneaking around inside, you know, the SUVs and trailers that were left on the highway. So they read lots, and they needed to know about man and what man's like and whatnot. So they read lots of basically bodice rippers, you know, romance novels. And the ones they liked best were these ones that were kind of based on Greek, but on Roman stuff. So they're all named after that stuff. They had this kind of really hotty-toddy version of what the world of man was going to be like. So of course they team up with the caravan to go into the big city to check everything out. And there's a bat there that's kind of friendly to them and tells them they can get some stuff on the down low, and ends up trying to feed them to a snake. I mean, actually, the snake actually starts eating them all, you know, sucker, you know, right? And they end up getting saved though. A cat with a mechanical tail with a knife on the end of it, you know, kills the snake, whacks its head off with its tail, and they split the snake open, and the mice are still in there. Yeah, happy day. But it has to do, it's got a lot more kind of espionage kind of stuff going on because there's a whole political fraction. There's Winter Mutt, this dog that's now got limbs that I think are going to be able to give it the ability to have grasp things like hands. And this kind of political turmoil that's going on. It's interesting, but it's still, there's just something that's missing in the whole thing. But I am liking it. I'm really curious about the world itself. It's kind of interesting. I see that Comic Crack is asking if I read Animosity as well. I do. I read all of the Animosity books. You know, kind of a thing. So this is a spin-off of that Animosity book. It's set in San Francisco, and it's more animal focused and less, you know, the little girl and her dog. That's the regular Animosity book is really about the two of them. This is more about the greater world and how it would function, how the bigger thing would function, I guess is what it is. And so there's aspects of it that are really cool. I like the idea of it. Bits and pieces of it aren't always executed awesomely, but I'm still digging.
So Bennett is writing all of this, even all the spin-offs and everything?
Yes, right. Marguerite Bennett, it's her world. She's doing it all. Different artists clearly on the different books, depending on who it was. There was a mini series called The Rise that was like 3 issues that John Doe did the art on, and it had to do with Winter Mutt also. It kind of gave us the origin of him. Now with this is one of the regular ongoings, and this regular ongoing is kind of what that dog is doing, because the dog is like this like hybrid Malamute hybrid wolf, and potentially some other like scientists that did some experimenting with it. So it's kind of an odd animal. Anyway, then of course they get the awakening, so it has intelligence, and it's working on getting cybernetic limbs to kind of put on its paws, so it has hands, because that's the one thing, of course, lots of animals can't do. They're living in a world that was constructed by man. They want to be part of that world constructed by man. But how do you do that? You can't use a smartphone as a dog, right? I mean, you can't, bump things with your nose. But if you had hands, then suddenly there's all kinds of more stuff you could do. We haven't actually seen it happen, but we know it's coming. Because one of the main characters in this book is a high-level veterinarian. They picked him up. And of course, he's super important, right? Somebody who can do medical work on animals. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Not perfect, but the idea of it keeps me around, despite to some degree, maybe it's not like I said, not the perfect book. Let's see if I can find see, here's the end after they killed the snake. There's this cat licking the blood off of it. See, it's got a cybernetic tail with a big old blade on the end of it. And there's a bunch of other cybernetic animals there. So, which is all new. That's something we've just been exposed to. But yeah, these cute little
theme is always what makes it tough to decide which books to pick up.
Yeah. So I mean, see, here's our kangaroo rats with the snake coming out from, and they all, each of them have their own cute little bow tied around their tails. They're wonderful little. They live in a cinder block. Their house is a cinder block that they live in and stuff. They're fun. They talk kind of funny because, like I said, their entire kind of how they learn to talk and everything is all, like I said, from these Roman set times romance novels. So it's kind of, one of them is like concerned because they when they're leaving their hole to get on the caravan to go into San Francisco, one of them's like, oh no, all of my boys will be missing me. And one of the other sisters is like, don't worry, there'll be plenty of other animals you can woo. Those lizards won't mind if you're gone. Their hearts will mend after a while. So here's this kangaroo rat that has all these lizard boyfriends. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just kind of funny. It's just because there is this kind of interspecies mixing as far as, who people, who characters are falling in love with. It doesn't, I don't know. Those boundaries have been broken. There doesn't seem to be I'm a cow. I'm only interested in cows. It doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So, there's, goats that are having relationships with buffaloes and, whatever kind of thing. So,
it's probably what's great about Marguerite Bennett doing it, because, her sexuality is different, so that it's not that idea of like a Chip Zdarsky. I mean, he has what I can understand, or a typical male perspective. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's great about this, is it gives just this whole fresh take on all of it. It takes away a bunch of taboos and stuff. So.
Right. So it's interesting. Like I said, first issue I was like, okay, whatever. This issue I really enjoyed. It's intriguing. I know there's some political stuff that's going on that we're just kind of slowly getting hinted at, and I'm looking forward to those aspects of it too, to see how that part of it plays out also. So I only have one other book. Do you have any others, Rez?
What book did I read? That can't recall.
Did you pick most of yours digital then?
Rez does all digital now. That's what.
All digital now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna start back physical soon.
She's one of them.
I know. I'm horrible.
No. Hey, however you can get her to read them. I'm always on here, bad mouthing, but it's purely a joke. However, you want to get your comics. That's.
I mean, I actually do get some of them. I do read some of them physically when I go out and about. I read for free. Oh, Unsound. Gosh, no.
Yes, the final issue of Unsound.
Oh, you know what? I don't know how I forgot to read. Why did I forget to read that?
You didn't read this? Holy cows! The best book as far as I'm concerned.
No, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I totally started that, and I read. You know what I did read? What did I read? I read The Void. I tell you.
Yeah. So here's the center page spread as she's trying to leave. As she is trying to leave this kind of underground labyrinth of this other hallucinatory space that's underneath the insane asylum. Um, this art says it all as far as I'm concerned. It's gloriously strange. These, you know, dark purple grays, these vivid greens and reds. Absolutely visually love this book to no end. I actually really like the story too. In this issue, I won't go into depth because somebody needs to go and actually read it. But she I can't believe you didn't read this. She has this argument with the guy that kind of led them down here. They insist that she is this entity, this mother of Blades. We find out that she is the mother of Blades, and she's the mother of Blades by blood. And he's trying to convince her she has to stay here. There's this whole society, this whole world under here. If she stays here, then all the other different strange entities will come back. They'll rebuild themselves and they'll have their gloriously strange whatever kind of thing. And she's like, I have nothing to do with it. I'm leaving, you know, kind of a thing. And she rescues some people out of it and she wanders out of it. And then we have kind of an aftermath story after she gets out of this place. I'll spoil that much for you, Rez. She does get out of the place. And, but it leaves some stuff unanswered. I kind of like that. It leaves a sense of this stuff is out there, and what are we gonna do about it? Whatever. So I'm really intrigued by that. I really liked it. I don't know that it actually leaves a potential for more story. I don't think that needs to happen, but it leaves it open-ended for us as readers to think about what would else be out there. What could that be like? What's it all going to mean and whatnot? But like I said, the art.
Could it be a show?
What's that?
Could this be a movie? Could this be greenlit?
Ooh, I don't know. Yes, I would watch it and love it. With the average viewer that needs to have stuff kind of, more spoon fed to them. Ooh, I don't know.
Who would you have? I mean, like what director? Or I mean, who would you want to see? Like,
Lynch. Somebody like Lynch.
Holy Lynch. Yeah, I could tell. Yeah, I would love to see.
As far as the director goes, somebody that's willing to go out there with it, because there's because there are large portions of this that are just kind of this nutsy visual, no words. It's just this kind of stimulating, strangeness going on. I mean, even the cover. Here's this guy. He's got this. Here's the destroyed, insane asylum burning down, and then here's the under, which is like an MC Escher, kind of a print. These wonderful cats that are actually on his robe. I mean, he's walking around in this underground world where he's the prince of nothing. And he's got this, the stereotypical king robe with the, with the fur with the spots on it, but he's got these two glorious cats that are on the back of it and stuff. He communicates through masks. Yeah, see, there's his funky robe with the cats on the back of it. But he has these paper plates that he holds up in front of his face, and they have different. Some are smiley, some are unhappy, and he just keeps peeling one off. And there's another one behind the one before it. And when he throws the masks on the ground, the masks are still talking about whatever they're talking about while he's going on having a different conversation with the new face that he has and stuff. I just, like I said, I really, really dug it. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see whatever else Jack T. Cole does. I hope we see him doing something soon, because he does all the art himself. And I just,
who else I think would do a really good depiction of that film if it was a film or a show? I think Guillermo del Toro would do really good.
Yeah. I think that like Brian Fuller. I think is somebody else who has a heavy enough of an imagination that would be willing to do the shots that lots of television or movies aren't willing to do. Stuff that seems nonsensical, but I don't know. I'm happy to just be in a comic book though too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You would be like so excited if you saw that come to the screen.
Oh yeah. I'd be super intrigued to see exactly how they laid it out for sure. Like I said, I really liked it. It had a really kind of bizarre, kind of a story end to it, whatnot, left it open in a way. And I still can't believe you didn't read it.
I don't know. What's wrong with me? No, I totally started. I don't know what happened to me why I didn't finish that.
Jeez.
I started. You know what? I started something else, and then it just. I don't know what happened.
So I sent Rez a picture of that big old giant centerfold that I showed right at the beginning. I'm like, wow, this is what I'm reading right now. And she's like, oh my gosh, some equivalent of that art is the bomb.
Yeah, and then I started.
And then she doesn't watch it, and then she doesn't read it.
I did. Look, he said this in her phone, and I started it, and I was like, yeah, and then I just went. You know, I did. I started it, and then I went to Glitter Bomb.
So that's how good it was. It was so good that she decided not to even finish it. So wow. Okay.
No, it was good. I don't know what I was like. You know what? I'll go. I'm gonna go to Glitter Bomb real quick. I'll just finish this real quick.
Oh, can't believe it.
Damn me.
Can't believe it. Anyway.
Oh my God, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Anyway, that's it for my comics. You got any others that you want to talk about? Oh, wow. I don't know any independent type comic booky news. I haven't. No real earth-shattering announcements or anything like that. So I guess with that, we'll call it a night. It was great to have you on, Mike. Even if you didn't have a ton of books to talk about, it's awesome to get to talk to you.
Yeah.
Look forward to the point where maybe you can be back on a regular basis. That would be awesome. But unfortunately, unfortunately, you're not reading the Marvel books because you were supposed to hold up that corner of stuff for us because
maybe I'll go digital on that. So
yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
Awesome. Anyway, with that, thank you for coming on. Rez, thank you for being here too. Thank you for you guys in the comments. It was awesome to have you here. Everybody that watched it live, always appreciate it. Those of you watch it after the fact, thank you very much too. Let us know what we missed. Clearly, we're missing Marvel books. What's great? I didn't read we didn't read the Doomsday Clock. Let me know in the comments. Do we blow it by not reading that thing? Is it going to reshape our views of Watchmen and all that other important stuff that may be attached to that and whatnot? Let us know. Anyway, with that, have a great night, everybody, and maybe we'll catch you next week. Bye.